Alright, today I'll be showing you how to make a tab menu. So it's basically when you press tab, for example, or M or whatever button you want, it opens up a menu on the side where you can click resume, options, you can do a bunch of stuff, and I'll go over in a different video the other buttons. Today I will do just so that each button opens their own menu, but the menu won't have any function. So what we first want to do is we want to create a Screen Gui that will call our menu. Then we want to make a simple frame that will scale as big as we want, something like that. And always make sure that your size is inside of the scale value and not the other one, the offset. You always want it to be scaled because then it scales properly and sizes properly over different different screen resolutions. So this will even work on phone, for example, but phones won't be able to open it, but that doesn't matter. So I'm going to be calling this over here the main frame, or you can call it whatever you want. Let's just call it main frame. Then inside of the background color, actually no, inside of the main frame we're going to add a gradient, which in the color we can click on 3 dots right here now, where we can manipulate how we want this to go. So here we want the color black, here we want the color, oh shit, here we want the color black as well, so it's just completely black. Now to be fair, you could have just said it here, I've mixed them together. It's in the transparency where you want to mess with the graph. So we have 2, right? So this one we want to have as it is, this one straight up. As you can see, it gives it a nice little fade, but it's a little bit too much, so we can change that a little bit by adjusting this graph, just like that. So you can either have it like this, or you can just make it completely black. Oops, that's the wrong one. Completely black here. And just change it to like 0.6, 5, or 4. So we'll do it this way. You can also do the gradient. Just wanted to show you how you could do the gradient in case you wanted that. There you go. So now we have this to open. So what we want to add in here is an image label that we can just have up here. Here you can put in whatever image you want, or you can even put a text up there. This is just the logo or name of your game. So if you want to do the name of your game, what you can do is we put it up here real quickly, we size it up a bit, move the background, change up the color a bit, so make this white, put this to 0, and just use the font for Doco. Actually, let's use Bodoni. Yep, it's fine. Then we can add a code in here where we're basically going to do script apparent.text is equal to game the name. There we go. So now if we playtest, this should just put automatically the name of your game. So if you have different places, also I'll show you to fix this little bar problem here. You can, so it just puts the game there. So to fix that little issue you just saw there is just turn this on. Ignore whatever that says. I can't read. So if you go back in, you'll see that's no longer there. You know, it's actually properly scaled. So now how do we go about getting the frame to show in and out? Like, so it just pops into your screen like this, like a nice little transition. Well, it's simple really. So in the position, in the scale here, you want to put it to 1, right? And keep in mind, this is on 0, so this is on 0, keep that in mind. So we just put that there. Now in starter pack, we could add the script here, but we'll add it in here instead. So we'll make a local script here. So first we're gonna get the player, which is local player game.players.local player. So we're grabbing the local player of the, the game, which is you, the client. Now, what we want to do is we want to make a list of who we want the admin panel to be used by. So we could do local admins is equal to, we make a table. Then, for example, ravenous duck, right there, and make sure it's a string. There we go. So, if let's do plr.name is equal to admins. So since we only have one value, we can do it this way. Make sure you have another equal sign. If not, if there was multiple, we'd have to do a loop that goes through them. So what we could do, for example, for I admin name in pairs and then admins, then we do if admin name is equal to plr dot name. If it is, then we print loop, then here we print normal. They should both, yeah, there you go. So we get the loop and we get the normal. So it both of them worked. So this is how you would do it in this case right here, if you had multiple names. So we'll keep the example above right here since this is more practical, since I will make this available for other people to use. So if you want, you can just download the file. So now that we have the player, now that we know that they're the admin, we're just going to Control X this, so we delete and copy it. And what we want to do now is first make a new line on top of the player here, call it local tween, and then we just want to get the service tween service basically. So this is how we're going to get the transition to work. If you want to learn more about tweens, I'll try and explain as much as possible in this video. But if you want to learn more, I'd suggest looking at the Roblox forum. So just search Roblox tween service and you should get the first result. So what we want to do is we want to check if the player has pressed, for example, M. So what we're gonna add another plug, local UIs. It's not what you think. It's not user interface. It's user input user input service that we're trying to get. So game : get service user input service. Now we have that. We want to do UIs.input began, connect that into a function that we make right here. In these little parentheses, we want to have two inputs. So we want to have input itself and is typing. So what this is basically, this is how we can check what button the player presses, and this checks if the player is currently typing in chat. So how do we do that is if is typing, then return just end. It basically just returns nothing, it just returns end if the player is typing. If he's not, then we do if input, not my chat, Jesus. Input dot get key is equal to enum dot get key code. Now why am I saying dot get key code? It's key code. What am I doing? Let's do the button. Can we do tab? It should be, yeah, tab. There we go. Then we're just going to print open. So if we press tab, nothing is happening. Okay, that's weird. No, I might have missed something for using tab, but I'll have an explanation down in the comments later. I don't have an explanation for that right now, so we're just going to use M because I know M works. Or at least it should. I might be missing another argument to get tab to work, but you see, when we press M, it works. Alright, so just a little button issue, but we can continue. Now we want to actually tween the mainframe. So we're going to be calling the mainframe in here. So we're going to do local mainframe is equal to script.parent.mainframe. So we're just grabbing the mainframe. And now we want to actually tween it. So we're going to do tween create. Then we want to do mainframe, comma, tween info.new. I want to take this like 1 second. Then we do enum.usingStyle dot bounce. So you can have more arguments like it says here, but we're not going to be messing with any of the other arguments. So what this line here does so far, we are not done with it yet, we still have another argument to add, is mainframe. The first part here, mainframe, is basically, instead of mainframe, you'd put anything that you'd want to mess with. So basically another part of the UI, a part, or anything that has, you know, something you can mess with. For example, position, size, etc. This right here, we're giving the tween a new info to go off of. So right now, if we just do mainframe, it wouldn't know what to do. It doesn't know how long it should take for the tween to finish. It wouldn't know what type of tween. It wouldn't know nothing. So this is why we do tween info.new. So 1 is basically the amount of seconds it takes for the tween to complete. enum.usingStyle is basically the style of how it shouldn't go. So for example, linear, it would just, for example, if you take the letter U, for example, it would just go, you know, just straight, just with no effect or anything. Bounce, however, you'll see what that does in a second. It's best if I show you instead of trying to explain it with letters. So now we're gonna make a table in here where we want the position to be changed. So position is equal to udim2, which is basically what UI uses. Reason why we're not using Victor3 is because it don't work in this scenario, because it's UI, it's not a 3D object. So then we do udim new, udim2 the new. Then we basically just want to move it to the 0 position. And then we do, oh shit, we gotta make this actually a variable. So local open menu. Then we do open menu, double colon play, parentheses. Let's try it out. Alright, we've loaded. If you press M, you can see it loads in, but it came from this side. That's due to us actually putting it on that side when we did it to 1. So what we could do instead is put this on a negative 0.5. Now it's on this side. So now we should more get the actual outcome that we want. There you go. So this is what bounced. So you see how it bounced to the position. So if we would do, for example, linear, this is what this would look like. You see it just pops in like that. So we'll keep it at bounce. If you only can use linear too, but I'll keep mine at bounce. So now that we actually have it pop in, when we press M again, we want it to go back. So what we would do is we would want to make a variable first that's called local is mainframe is open is equal to false by default. So then we make a statement here. So if mainframe is open is equal to false, then we copy what we made down here and paste it inside of the if statement. Then once it, and before all of this code right here, we want to do mainframe is open is equal to true. Then under the play, we do else mainframe is open is equal to false. So basically what we're doing here is we are adding a variable which is called mainframe is open, which is equal to false. When we press M, it checks if it's false. If it's false, it sets mainframe is open to true and plays the animation that I showed you guys. And if we press M again, it checks if it's false, which it isn't now, it's true. it goes to the else and sets it back to false. Now what we can do is we can copy this right here, this code, paste it up here, right under there, but under the else. Call this one close menu, put that on the play here. Then instead of going to 0 in the beginning, we go to negative 0.5. So let's see what that does. Reload, menu pops in, we press M, and it disappears. That's basically what I wanted. So now that we have the menu opening, we can move on to the next part. So we have our menu. We make it visible by bringing it to our screen real quickly. Boom. So now let's make a frame in here that will just pop out here. Something like this. Then we call this menus, just like that. And then we make another frame that will pop down here. Pick up the size of this. Boom. And call this buttons. Then we go back to our local script. We open up this again. So when we close it, let's just say we have another menu open, for example, options. We want that to close with the actual menu, like the screen right here. Otherwise it'll look weird, because then this will stick out when this doesn't. It'll look super weird. So what we want to do is, after the animation or before the animation gets played, we want to do a loop that checks in the menus. So what we'll do is, under the local mainframe here, we're going to do local menus is equal to mainframe.menus. Oops. Menus. So then we got to do our for loop. So for I menus name in pairs, then we do menus. Double colon get children. So you just want to get every single like descendant or child that is in here. For example, if we have different frames in here, we want to get all those. So we want to loop for them, and then we do menus.name or menus name dot visible is equal to false. That's all we're doing here, and this should take care of what we just had. So now we can make both of these. Actually, no, we'll keep invisible for now. So in the buttons here, we want to make a new button. So let's make a text button and call this. We'll call this. Let's call this just resume. Right here. And then text is just resume. Make the text white, icon black. We can actually make this a lot more transparent. So background, just give this a 0.9, so it's a little bit visible but not too much. So yeah. Now we want it to just basically close the menu when we click on it. So what we can do is we can just copy this code that we had here, right? Boom. Go into this text, make a new local script. We do local mainframe is equal to script.parent.parent. So the script's parent, and another parent, so we got another parent. So we're just going from the script to resume to buttons to mainframe. And then we do script.parent, which is the button. Dot mouse button one down. The reason we're using mouse button one down and not mouse button one click is because mouse button one down has mobile support as well. So then when we click on it, we want to connect it to a function just like this and paste our code that we had here. And of course getting tween. Local tween is equal to game dot double colon get service tween service. There we go. So if we click resume, it goes. The reason this isn't going is because we're looping through the contents of the menus, and this is going to be invisible. This is not going to be visible later anyway, because we don't really need it in like visible. So we're gonna turn off the background. We're gonna do 0.9. So ignore that this is showing for now. So we got a resume button. Now let's make a options button. And after we've done the options button, basically concludes the first episode. And then I'll go over like what we can add to the options and what more we can do. So let's go ahead and change this to options. So we want to make a new GUI basically. So and then we'll scale it up. There you go. And then we call this we'll just leave this as background. We'll make this completely black, give it a 0.5, and then this we can turn completely invisible. The menu, same with the buttons, we don't need that anymore. Yeah, you guys know this one not anyway anymore. So we got a menu here. Now we want to open this, and we want to put another bounce tweet on it. So for example, here we want to, something we want to do is we want to change the anchor points to 0.5, 0.5. That puts the little dot in the middle, and this is important because where is the fucking thing? That's because it's invisible now. Shit. 0.5. Boom. Okay. Let's make this the index 2 as well, just so it's above the other one. Okay, so now when we open this, okay, so we gotta name this actually. So we're gonna name this options frame. So when we click on here, I'm gonna call this open menu. We're basically doing the same code as we've always done, bounds, open, stuff like that. But instead of getting the main frame, we gotta get the options frame. So what we gotta do is we gotta go to the main frame, as we are right now. Then we do dot menus dot whatever your thing is. So for example, it's options frame. And this time we don't want to mess with the position, so we can just delete all of this right here. This time we actually want to mess with the size. So it's basically the same code. Just gotta check what size we want it. So here's our current size. It's just 1 on each axis. So 1, 0, 1, 0. Like this. And then what we want to do is we want to start this at the 0 position, or like 0 size. So just completely remove its size by turning all these to 0. Then if we click play, then we click options, so as you can see, pops open. Then we click resume. It doesn't actually remove the menu. Alright, let's see what's wrong with the code. So for I menus, for the menus, visible is equal to false. Let's actually do a print here. So print menu's name. Let's see what's happening. Oh wait. Yeah, it's because, so for example, if we, okay, this doesn't even want to open now too. Jeez. Let's see what's wrong with this. So this is for not what I wanted. Let's see. So we're opening the size. This should, in all theory, work. Yeah. Then if we click M. Yeah. Okay. So it works. What we also want to add here in the button for the options is we want to get the main frame, which is just the options frame. We just call the main frame. So we want to get the options frame dot visible is equal to true, just so it's always true when you click on it. And then in the resume button, we want to make sure that we do the same like for loop that we did in here, just so we make sure that everything closes as well. So in here, we do this. You need to get menus again, so we copy this code. There we go. And we should have our troubles all fixed. So let's go and try it. So you see we have a small black dot as well. It's because we have our thing set as visible. So if you close this, you see it disappears. Click M, click options, see it opens. You press M, disappears. Open again. We can open it. That is because we didn't set the size either. So again, you go open the size. So menus dot size is equal to medium2 dot new. Then we just set it to 0. Boom. Then we copy this and we put it in the same line as well here. So one more time, we go over it, and then we shall see. So if we click on options, it opens up. Go to resume, open it again, and it opens right back up. So yeah, there you go. That's how we do some of the, let's just say, animation work off of this tab menu. In next episode, we'll go over how we can do some character options like walk speed. Let's say, actually no, we'll do an RP name. We'll do a sprint keybind, and we'll do one more thing. I gotta think about it, but I'm not sure. So yeah, I will have this. I might have this available in the description to download this part, but I don't see it's worth to add this yet as a finished product. So once this is completely finished, that's when I'll probably add this as a downloadable. But yeah, just stick around the tutorials, and hopefully you learned something from this video. But I'll try and post the next video a day or two after this one, just so you don't have to wait for too long for this to be finished. But I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.